Good morning, Salome B here, and today I want to talk about Patrick Harmon, a Salt Lake City resident, and I will show you the video of Patrick getting arrested and his demeanor, and I will come back with my comments and opinions on the situation. The video.
I need you to take your backpack off for me, okay? Take your backpack for me. Put your hands behind your back. Shoot you! 244 priority, shots fired. Start medical. Understandable. Patrick, you already know about your warrant, right? Okay, well, okay, I believe that. But I need you to take your backpack off for me, okay? Take your backpack off for me. Okay, put your hands behind your back for me. 244 priority, shots fired. Start medical.
We're back. Okay, so let's talk about Patrick Harmon. Now, we know that Patrick Harmon was killed October the 7th, and the officers have been cleared by Salt Lake City authorities. Man who ran after being stopped on his bicycle, and it was caught on body camera video, and it was released on the 7th. Now, it says Harmon was stopped because he was riding his bike erratically and did not have a red rear light after finding he had multiple open arrest warrants, stemming charges, felony aggravated assault charges. The officers informed Harmon that he was under arrest. That is when Harmon ran. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about the license to kill. Police have the license to kill. Now, Patrick Harmon in no way should have been gunned down like that. In no way. And I want to talk about the NFL. I'm just going to say this, that Colin Kaepernick, I respect what the athletes are doing. But it's a time and a place for everything. And what I'm saying is the NFL is not a place to do this. The only thing that will make a change as far as the NFL is to demolish the NFL. And the best way that athletes can do this is just to quit. Every athlete in the NFL quit. And you will see the NFL disappear so fast that it'll make your head spin. All they have to do is quit. But the fact that the athletes are under contract, that's their job, and that's their livelihood, it's not going to happen. So I don't really think that they should be protesting anything because it's just Why don't y'all quit? How about that? That'll wrap it all up. But anyway, I'm going to tell you about a law called Tennessee versus Gardner. It's 471 U.S. 1. Now, the United States Supreme Court ruled on this case, I think, in 1948. And it says a police officer may not seize an unarmed, non-dangerous suspect by shooting him dead. However, where the officer has probable cause to believe that the suspect possesses a threat of serious physical harm either to the officer or to others, it is not constitutionally unreasonable to prevent escape by using deadly force. And Justice Brian White, Tennessee versus Gardner, 471 U.S. 1. Okay? Now, a police officer may not stop a non-dangerous suspect using deadly force by shooting him dead. They said that that cannot be done. But if the officer says or thinks that this person is going to hurt someone else, then they can shoot you dead in the back and stop you from fleeing with deadly force. Now, if you take in English and you know English and law runs hand in hand, however changes the dynamic to Tennessee versus Gardner. However, which means, however, if the police officer assumes or presumes that you are going to hurt him or anyone else, he has the right to kill you. A license to kill. Tennessee versus Gardner gives the police a license to kill. Okay? Now, probable cause is a word that's embodied in this case. And probable cause under the Fourth Amendment is just the right of people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall exist but upon probable cause. So that means when a police officer stops you, he has the right to stop you under probable cause. This is why people are getting stopped left and right, because police officers can say, oh, well, it looked like that he was drunk. Or it looked like that he was swerving. Or it looked like that, his tail light was out and it might not have been out. It gave police the room to make up or assume assumptions. And when you make an assumption, a guesstimation or a stereotype or whatever, it can be justified. Or as I think Minister Louis Farrakhan said, justifiable homicide. It's justified. Okay? Now, that's probable cause. And the Fourth Amendment is dealing with searches and seizures. Now, if people don't know what a seizure is when you are stopped. When a police officer stops your vehicle, when he puts on those lights and you pull over and you stop, that is actually a seizure. And if you are not allowed to leave, that is a seizure. Okay? Now, we know that Patrick Harmon was seized because he could not leave. Because once he ran, they terminated him. Because they were going to take him in because of the arrest warrants. Okay? Now, Tennessee versus Gardner is an immoral law. This is not the only immoral law on the books. Another immoral law on the books is Dred Scott case. Now, the Dred Scott case was ruled upon, and in that ruling, they said that descendants of slaves had no rights that could be recognized by any white man and are only used to his benefit, which means the black man is only used or valuable to the benefit of the white man. That's what the Dred Scott case says. This is where Black people and black men rights have been crumpled under immoral law, and it was under a Democratic Supreme Court, because all the judges that made Dred Scott were Democrats. This is why a lot of people are talking about Obama and how police shootings were higher when he was in office. He was a Democrat. It really doesn't matter. They were still being killed. And they were killed under the Tennessee versus Gardner. And then the Dred Scott case is one of that case is maybe 200 years old, and it's still in existence. And it's still relevant to why black men's rights are being trampled upon. They've already been trampled upon with Dred Scott case. And the Dred Scott case gave birth to the Fugitive Slave Act, which is that's where the federal government and the FBI and the police come in, under the Fugitive Slave Act. And that was after the Dred Scott case. Now, when slave owners would look for runaway slaves, they would use the FBI, or beforehand, that would be the police or deputies or whatever, the men that were on horses. Those were deputies. And they were to capture fugitive slaves. Now, when Patrick was stopped, he had a warrant out for his arrest. So they were trying to retrieve him and take him down to the jail so he could answer to the warrants. Now, my question is, I want to know who put those warrants out, because you have to understand, when you go to the court or you go to the police department and you file a complaint, the police department and 911 is an alarm system. Understand what you're doing when you call 911. You are ringing the alarm, okay? Like Beyonce said, ring the alarm. You're ringing an alarm. It is an alarm system. Once you do that, a warrant goes out, and a police officer who is a law enforcement, he's going to enforce the law, he's coming after you. So whoever put these multiple warrants out on Patrick Harmon is, something that we need to really look at and see exactly what was going on in his brother's life. Was he at it with a female or whatever? We have to understand what was going on. We have to look deeper into this, because we only got a little bit of information, but we do see that this man was murdered on camera. Now let's talk about the 9 church shootings. Now we know that the senator that was killed by Dylan Roots, this was the brother that argued on the floor of Congress about body cams, okay? He is the reason why police officers have to use body cameras. And this is why now we're seeing footage of Patrick Harmon being shot. When Walter Scott was shot in the back, Senator Pinckney, I believe, I can't pronounce his name, but that brother, he stood on the floor of Congress and he argued why police officers should wear body cams. And after he was killed by Dylan Roots, in South Carolina, they had been working to overthrow that law. They have been working to overthrow it. But it hasn't been overthrown yet. Thank God to that. So we, the public, get to see that. And that brother is the one who made sure that happened. We see body cams. So now we see that Patrick Harmon was terminated. Okay? So I've talked about the immoral laws on the book of the United States and the immoral judges who are corrupt, and that even the Supreme Court agreeing to some of this mess is immoral. There are a lot of immoral laws on the Supreme Court books, and we need to understand how to go through the procedures of getting those things taken off, because there is a procedure. We can complain about the law, and a lot of black people need to get together and start complaining about the law. We need to form legal teams and research the law, and then start to go through the mechanisms of challenging these laws that are giving the police the license to kill. So I just want to give you a few pointers. If you get pulled over and you know you got a warrant or something like that, your best bet is to remain silent. Don't talk. Don't try to argue on the side of the road, because you're going to go to jail regardless. If there's a warrant in the system for you, you're going to go to jail. Be ready to go. But what you need to do, if you know you're going to get arrested, remain silent. You have a right to remain silent, okay? Until evidence and your accuser, until you efface your accuser, okay? Until you see this person. And your accuser is either the person that you're in conflict with, who put out the warrants against you, or who called the police on you, okay? So do not run. Because when you run, Tennessee versus Gardner is activated, and that gives them the license to kill. Do not run, remain silent, and understand that under the Sixth Amendment, which is the witness, dealing with the witness, the police officers are witnesses. This is why you shouldn't be talking in front of them, because they're going to bring everything you said to them in the court. They're going to write it down. They're going to record it or whatever, and they're going to give it to the judge, and they're going to use that as evidence to lock you up. So please be smart about this. Understand the history and how we got this way, and understand the Dred Scott case was the beginning of taking the rights away from the black man and saying that he does not have any rights, including the black family, saying that if they're descendants of slaves, they don't have any rights that is bound to be respected by any white man. Okay? So do not take this video as me coming at other people and other races. I'm telling you the law. These laws are on the books. Take a look at them. Use them in your everyday life, so when you walk out your door, you know how to conduct yourself. Be safe. Again, if you're stopped, don't run. Do not run, because you are going to get killed. Don't run, and remain silent. Okay? Remain silent. Okay? Try to be safe in this environment, because right now, police reform has been something that all police unions have been talking about. Police reform, police reform. And until police reform actually happens, you need to remain silent, don't run, and be safe. Salome B. Have a nice day.